What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto hates Kushina Chunin exams harem? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. 6_years later. Location. Konohagakure. Konoha was progressing smoothly on a cool afternoon. Everyone walked around minding their businesses and going around doing their daily jobs and duties. Some citizens happy, since they no longer saw the demon kid that plagued their precious village. They were in for the shock of their lives. A young blonde kid and a taller woman arrived at the gates of Konohagakure no Sato. "Well, Ruto-chan, how do you feel?" the red-haired woman asked the younger kid. She wore a simple white jacket which was unzipped and revealed her white vest. "I feel great, Ka-san," Naruto just said as he smiled. "This place hasn't changed much after 6 years. What were you expecting? Cars?" Kushina joked with her son as they started to walk through the village. Naruto wore a simple black leather jacket, unzipped like his mother's, and a white vest also. He had a red amulet around his neck. "Let's go talk to the Hokage, and then you can go to the academy tomorrow." "Okay, Ka-san." Hiruzen just finished admitting a ninja with a mission. The Hitaki clan member was pretty worried when he heard about Naruto leaving the village some years prior. He was equally surprised and satisfied when he heard about Kushina being alive, and the Uzumaki going together. Two figures entered his office and he looked up in a nonchalant manner, as his life had been pretty boring. "Naruto, Kushina, you're back." The Uzumakis smiled at the Sandame. "Hello, old man, how have you been doing?" Naruto said, waving a hand as he walked closer to the Hokage. Hiruzen's sweat dropped at the alias he was called, but just overtook it with the happiness that lifted his truly old body. "It's been pretty boring, glad you're both back. I've been waiting for a while now. Now that you're here, I can enroll you just in time for the exam that will be taking place tomorrow, kid." Naruto smiled heartily. "So I still gotta go for the exams, huh?" "Sure thing, kid. You can't become genin without passing them," Hiruzen said with a smile. "Now why don't you wait outside while I talk to your mom?" "No problem, I can even get some ramen," Naruto said, happiness raging through the tone of his voice as he disappeared out of sight, leaving a surprised Sandame. "He learned the body flicker technique, pretty impressive," Hiruzen said as he calmed down in front of Kushina. "He mastered a lot of techniques while we traveled, Hokage-sama," Kushina said with a genuine smile as she leaned on the wall. "Like?" the Hokage calmly asked. "He's a taijutsu and swords master. He also mastered and alternated Minato's Raijin. He's an affinity user of wind, fire and lightning." Hiruzen smiled when he heard all that the kunoichi informed him about. "Where did he learn all that?" "Apparently, I wasn't the only one teaching him. He kept making new friends and new teachers and kept learning." Hiruzen was even more shocked when he heard this. More than one teacher? Naruto must have improved quite a lot. Can't wait to see what he's capable of. Kushina had a large smirk going onto her face at that moment, something which creeped the Hokage. "Oh, you'll see." The next day, Naruto walked slowly towards the academy. He didn't have much interest in going there, but he knew he just had to do it. "I hope I make good friends, and not find someone that'll be totally annoying." Naruto walked around when he got to the academy and finally got to his class and opened the door. A rousing noise that was once raging like the sound of a bad-engined car suddenly stopped when he entered. Naruto had a simple black short-sleeved top and black fit pants to match. The odd thing that the academy students of Konoha no Sato saw that made them wonder was the katana he held at his back and the fingerless glove he wore on his right hand. Murmurs went around the whole class as Naruto walked slowly, ignoring the kids who were staring weirdly at him. He saw a free seat at the far end of the class and walked over to it. "New kid, huh?" Naruto looked to his left and saw a kid his age and height sitting not too far away from him. His hair was black and brushed down around and he had onyx-colored eyes. He wore a black jacket on top of his black vest and black shorts. "Yeah, I just came today," Naruto replied in a cool tone. The class was gradually going back to its former state as the two conversed. "Welcome to the academy," the kid said as he offered a handshake to the Uzumaki. Naruto happily accepted it as a smirk formed on his face. "Thanks, nice meeting ya. We'll be having our exams today, how do you plan on catching up?" Naruto sat back and relaxed, placing his feet on the table. It shouldn't be that hard. A man, obviously the teacher of the class, entered and coughed to grab the attention of the class, which clearly didn't work. Everyone sit the hell down. The man shouted more, which worked as the students quickly arranged themselves and sat down. Well, your graduation exam begins today. I hope you all prepared well. Naruto sat down on a tree on the various trees around the academy. He just enjoyed the cool breeze that blew around the village, something he liked. This village has been pretty boring. I hope something interesting would happen around here. His wishes were granted when he heard the cries of a young girl. Kiba, I don't really feel for you like that. I have feelings for another person. The girl softly cried out, forcing the Uzumaki to look down under the tree. He saw a girl with navy blue long wavy hair around his height. Her name was Hinata. She was being troubled by a certain dog-like kid that Naruto knew all too well, referred to as Kiba. Time I gave our little doggy here some little playtime. Come on Hinata, just a little kiss, Kiba said as he pushed the girl to the bark of the tree forcefully and was about to place his lips on hers. No, Kiba. Stop. Hey Mud, why don't you leave the lady alone? Kiba abruptly stopped at the voice he heard and turned around to see the blonde kid. Hey, what the fuck do you want? Can't you see we're having a private period together? By what I see, she doesn't seem to want you, so fuck off Kiba. The dog kid got infuriated by the moment and cracked his knuckles. Naruto, I don't remember you giving a shit before, and I don't remember you being a promising ninja. Well, let's see about that. Mutt, Naruto said and grabbed his katana on his back with its sheath and dropped it on the ground at his back. He made a hand sign taunting Kiba to come over. Kiba was even more enraged and charged at Naruto. The battle began as Kiba tried a left hook only for his attack to be sidestepped by the Uzumaki, who proceeded to touch his chest with his index finger softly. Goodbye Kiba, Naruto whispered before the kid was sent flying through different trees. Naruto put his hands inside his pocket and slowly walked to Hinata, someone he knew too well from his earlier days in Konohagakure no Sato. The Uzumaki remembered his training days on how he traveled the world when he left Konoha. Hey Hinata, he said as he lifted her from her sitting position. You're fine now, don't worry, Naruto said, his left hand still in his pocket. He got a shock when Hinata suddenly hugged him. Thank you, Naruto-kun. The next day, academy. Good morning class, Iruka greeted the class. He stood in front of the class with a list in his hand. Congratulations to all of you that passed the exam. Now, you shall be divided into teams consisting of 3 genin. Iruka went on to announce the teams. Naruto listened attentively, waiting for his name. He got infuriated and irritated each second when he saw a certain pink banshee clinging to the same annoying Sasuke, who clearly didn't show any interest in the female. Team 7 consists of Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Hiroki and Hinata Hyuga. Naruto's happiness was expressed, but he didn't show it and just had a smirk on his face. Finally, thank goodness I wasn't paired up with useless Uchiha. Team 8, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno and Kiba Inuzuka. Naruto just sighed heavily as he heard the name of the other teams. Now my team will be considered as rivals to those idiots. Well, my team's better. Iruka dismissed himself and the teachers immediately started coming to pick their teams and went out. Naruto-kun. Naruto, who was already laying down and sleeping, raised his head up to see Hinata sitting beside him. Oh, hello Hinata. I'm fine Naruto, I'm really happy to be on your team, she said in a somewhat shy but more confident manner. Really? Why exactly? Hinata suddenly jumped at the Uzumaki's reply before she calmed down and smiled. Well, I saw what you did yesterday, and I was hoping to learn from you. No problem then, Hinata-chan. Naruto was having fun with his new teammates. The 3 talked about their pasts and what they hoped for in the future, getting much more closer by the second. They patiently, but were clearly annoyed, waited for their unknown sensei. He, she, whoever they were, had been late for over 3 hours now. Well, our sensei must be a pretty busy person or something, Hinata said softly, sitting down at the far end on the first seat. No Hinata, he must be doing this on purpose, Hiroki said impatiently as he walked around the class in the same manner. Their anticipation was stopped when the door of the academy classroom opened up, revealing a man with gray-white hair that defied the law of gravity. He had a mask covering the whole of his face except his right eye. "My first impression, you guys are boring, meet me on the roof," the man said before he poofed away in a wake of smoke. "He keeps us waiting for over 3 hours and says we're boring? Oh, I'll show him boring." "Calm down, he's a Jonin, he could easily dismantle you." Naruto chuckled at Hinata's words and just stood up. "Calm down guys, let's just go and meet the guy on the roof." Location: Academy roof. The new and young Team 7 stared at their sensei, waiting for whatever he was gonna say. "Well, I guess the logical thing is to introduce yourself," the man said in a nonchalant manner as he looked at his new team. "Your name, likes, dislikes, dreams for the future, all that." "Well, my name is Hinata Hyuga," the white-eyed girl started. She was sitting at the far right of the three. "I like sparring with people better than me, 'cause I know I'll learn from them. I hate, not that much things really. My dream for the future is to become a great kunoichi." "Okay, good, blonde, you're next." "My name is Uzumaki Naruto, I like battling, ramen, training and my friends," Naruto started quickly. "I dislike people calling me nicknames, and I also dislike lazy and arrogant people," he said, the first part of the sentence clearly aimed at the white-haired Jonin as he glared at him. "My dream for the future is to become the Hokage of this village someday." He's definitely the son of Minato, we'll see about his techniques later." "Well, you're the last, go on." "My name is Uchiha Hiroki, I like ramen, barbecue, my friends and sparring. I dislike a certain once close friend of mine and arrogant bastards. My dream for the future is to restore my clan and find my older brother." Kakashi's eyes smiled the three after they finished their introduction. The Jonin was pretty happy at his team, seeing how much they had in common. "Okay then, well, you guys will have your final test tomorrow." Hinata tilted her head a bit. "Test? But we already graduated?" "Nope, if you pass my test, then you're under me, if you don't, you'll be sent back to the academy." The three kept mute by either shock or already expecting this from the Jonin, something which scared the white-haired ninja. Seems like those two expected it. No, I'll just continue. "Meet me at the training ground 7 tomorrow at 7 a.m. And I'd advise you not to eat." The Jonin eyes smiled his last sentence before poofing away again. Naruto and Ren sighed while Hinata was scared. "I didn't expect this," Hinata said as she looked down. "Well I did," Ren and Naruto chorused before they proceeded to smirk at each other. "Oh, we did Hinata." Location: Uzumaki home. Naruto munched on breakfast slowly and comfortably. He ate a large bowl of ramen Kushina made for him after he became a genin, something she knew he'd make easily. "So, Ruto-chan, you're gonna be having your belt test with Kakashi today huh?" Kushina asked her son as she came to view. She was wearing a light orange top with the Uzumaki symbol on it. She wore a white apron with the same symbol on it and blue short jeans. "Yes, Ka-san, judging by how late he was yesterday, I and my teammates all decided to go late and digest our breakfast," Naruto said. He continued eating but the smirk on his face was clear. Kushina sat down on the dining table not too far from him and took off her apron. "Okay, Ruto-chan, do me a favor and don't show off too much of your abilities, something I know you inherited from my brother, Dante." "Ka-san, no, listen, you can kick Kakashi's butt as hard as you want to, you're allowed to show off, but not too much, alright Ruto-chan?" Naruto nodded obediently. No matter how strong he got, he still remembered how easily Kushina kicked his ass after his first 3 years of training, something he'd never forget after she showcased her amazing shinobi skills, and that she would always be his mother. "So, when you're done, head out and make me proud Ruto-chan," Kushina said boldly before she proceeded to loosen his hite-aid and kiss his forehead, tying it back immediately she was done. "I love you Ruto-chan. I love you to Ka-san. Thanks," Naruto said with a pleasant smile before he drank up the soup in his ramen and hugged his mother. His life had been perfect, as he had always described it, ever since he met his mother and knew the truth, something he would have killed for to know. Naruto broke up the hug and walked out of the house. "Make me proud, Naruto." Location: Training Ground 7. Time: 9 a.m. Naruto arrived just in time as his teammates also did. The three had planned their way out of the test, since Naruto had learned from his mother that Kakashi always did a belt test, but she never knew the exact meaning. Unknown to the three, who walked up to each other and greeted themselves, some spectators were among the trees observing them closely. The Sandame and Kushina. The former deciding to watch it to gauge Naruto's power and the team's chemistry, the latter just because of sheer excitement. Naruto, Hiroki and Hinata sat down on the grass and were conversing very smoothly. The three were however interrupted when a man suddenly poofed into their view. "You're all late," Kakashi said in a cold manner that would have put shivers into the feeling of the kids. "No, we came 5 minutes earlier before you did, so it doesn't count," Hiroki replied quickly. Tough team, I'm liking these guys. Anyway," Kakashi started as the genin got up and listened attentively. "This test is about you guys catching these two bells tied my waist. All you have to do is get it. Whoever doesn't get one by noon, will be tied up to a pole and doesn't get to eat lunch, got it?" "Hi," the three chorused together as they took stances. Kakashi set the timer and placed the clock before yelling, "Begin," to his three genin. The three disappeared out of sight immediately they heard their sensei. "Good, they know ninja have to learn how to hide," Kakashi said before he brought out a copy of his favorite Icha Icha book and started to read through it. Naruto, Hiroki and Hinata laid down beneath the pushes in a stationary position. "Hinata, listen, what you're to do is distract Kakashi. I know how good you are with taijutsu. You go in first, then I'll get you out when I and Hiroki use our fire style, alright?" The Hyuga only nodded carefully before she was teleported to Kakashi's right side immediately by the blonde Uzumaki. Kakashi was caught off guard when Hinata threw her palm towards him. The attack he just barely managed to dodge and move backwards a bit. Hinata continued her attack and dashed towards her one-eyed sensei. "How did she get beside me so fast?" Kakashi said as he continued to block, parry and dodge her oncoming attacks. He was about to apprehend and capture her when she again suddenly disappeared. "What the?" Kakashi said with a surprised look on his face as he looked around. "Oh, Kakashi's getting confused, Hokage-sama," Kushina said in a malicious manner as she watched the ongoing test. Papa Roach last resort. Hiruzen just watched on the battle, but he carefully listened to what the kunoichi beside him said. "Kaden." Kakashi was equally shocked when he heard the name of the techniques. He looked at his left and right and saw Naruto and Hiroki respectively making hand signs. "Kaden. Gokyaku no Jutsu." Naruto and Hiroki both simultaneously hurled large fireballs towards Kakashi from their sides. The flame raged towards the very much surprised Jonin. "Wow, I gotta say, I'm impressed," Kakashi said before he flicked out of harm's way just in time before the flames collided and went out. "Hero, that's it. From now on, he's Hero," pulled out a kunai from his pouch at the back of his laps and got ready, knowing very well that their new sensei may not be taken down so easily. As expected, Kakashi suddenly appeared behind Ren, reading his Icha Icha book while staying on guard. Not bad for an academy student. "Sensei, I thought you were a jonin, not meant to underestimate people, and I know you've heard about me," Hiro said before he flicked out of sight appearing some feet away from his jonin. He proceeded to throw his kunai in point blank targeting towards Kakashi's face. Lucky for him, he managed to dodge it by bending his upper body back and low enough. Kakashi was satisfied with his performance, only to get the shock of his life when Naruto appeared beside him. Oh, Kakashi's gone in for it," Kushina said in her usual evil tone with the same grin riding on her face. "You underestimated us," the Uzumaki said before he bent down and gave Kakashi a kick that swept him off the ground and onto his back in a step of speed that even Kakashi didn't understand. The hard fall knocked the wind out of Kakashi and rendered him confused for a split second. Hiro then threw different kunai in different manners towards the ground where Kakashi lay, some even a bit from him before he landed. His plan succeeded when Kakashi was trapped in threads that followed the kunai and couldn't no longer move. "You're trapped, Kakashi-sensei," Hiro said as he walked towards his teacher. "You all have great teamwork, but you'll have to do better than that to apprehend me," Kakashi said in his cool manner before he disappeared, a log replacing his tied-up location. "Damn it, I knew he read through it," Hiro said in a regretful manner, clutching his fists while Hinata walked up to the two. "No, we actually did catch him, and we got what we wanted. Now I can play with Kakashi-sensei," Naruto said with a smirk engraved on his face. "You guys get yourself hidden. I'll distract Kakashi long enough for him not to notice." The two followed obediently and disappeared immediately. Naruto cracked his neck and brought out a kunai, he spun it, threw it up a bit, rolled and caught it before he threw it with brute force and speed at a tree. The kunai pierced and went through it. "Come out, Kakashi-sensei, hiding too much is a sign of fear." Kakashi's eyes showed through the hole that was created by Naruto's kunai in the tree. "Well, I guess you've wanted this for a long time. Sure, I won't go easy on you, kid. We have just 30 minutes left for this stuff." Kakashi appeared some feet away from Naruto. "This kid, I don't want to use my Sharingan, but if he pushes me, I will." The Jonin thought as he brought a kunai, taking his fighting stance. Naruto reached for his katana and then stopped. "What? Is he underestimating me enough to not use his sword?" "Kakashi-sensei, my apologies, but with all due respect, do you want me to use my katana?" Naruto asked innocently. Kakashi could very much tell that he wasn't boasting due to tone of his voice and the look on his face. Kakashi just gave a nod as his reply and Naruto unsheathed his katana. It had the normal size of a katana and a samurai look on its hilt, colored black. There was a ribbon coming from it with the orange color. "Just so you know, I haven't released it, here I come." Kakashi parried immediately as Naruto struck down with his sword towards him. "What the? How did he get to me so fast?" Kakashi continued the struggle, applying all he could in his strength, but he saw through it that he couldn't handle Naruto as he felt like the Hokage monument holding a sword down on him. The Jonin retreated his kunai and spun on the spot. He turned to Naruto with a slash with his left hand. Naruto easily blocked it with his katana and proceeded to kick Kakashi's now free face. The Cyclops however managed to parry by using his right hand to hold Naruto's leg before he pushed him backwards, the force of Naruto's kick also pushing him. "Inazuma" roughly translates to lightning bolt, Naruto said as he spun his katana continuously with his right hand. Kakashi just watched. Kakashi just continued to watch on as Naruto did whatever he was doing after he said the word. Suddenly, lightning started to generate around his body. Naruto gathered the energy and placed it in his sword before he stretched it towards his sensei. Hiruzen's eyes were widened out of shock and fear when he saw Naruto channeling lightning over his body. How the hell did he learn to do that? There were some people that trained him that even I didn't know about, but that's his Inazuma technique. It delivers pain when it hits the receiver and paralyzes them. Kakashi may get lucky though because it's already noon. The timer clocked and the alarm went off, saving the sensei from the attack of his student. Naruto smirked as the lightning around his body went off, gaining a crimson color before it disappeared. He sheathed his katana back and walked over to his sensei. "So, Kakashi-sensei, do you believe we'll make a great team?" Naruto asked as he neared his teacher. Kakashi nodded and smiled. "Yes, we will. By the way, none of you managed to get the bells." "Who told you so, Kakashi-sensei?" Kakashi was equally surprised and impressed when he saw Hiro and Hinata holding up a bell in their hand each. "How? When?" "Hiroki got his bell when you appeared behind him. Hinata got hers when we used our fire techniques, pretty simple." They planned this, they really do have teamwork, and this Naruto, he could have defeated me if he wanted to, but he didn't, he just toyed with me." Kakashi ignored the kids and I smiled. "Well, then you're gonna get tied up, Naruto." Sure, I know." Wow, Naruto didn't show much of his abilities, but his performance was of genius-level display. I'm very impressed. "I told him not to show off too much," Kushina replied her Hokage quickly. "Now he's gonna get tied up." Hinata and Hiro were given lunch by Kakashi after he tied Naruto up. He clearly knew though that it will never be the cleverest way of apprehending the blonde. "You guys can have lunch while Naruto watches you. Don't give him a bite or release him, alright?" Kakashi said coolly, but in a manner that the message was sent. The two nodded before he poofed away again, leaving them alone. "Well, Naruto, you hungry?" Hiro quickly asked his newfound friend. He looked at him with a serious face. "No, Hiro, eat up. You'll need your strength," Naruto replied, moving his fingers slowly. "No, Naruto-kun. You should eat," Hinata said as she brought up her lunch to Naruto's mouth. "Without you, we really may not have gotten the bells, so this is me saying thank you." Naruto nodded and smiled. He was getting happier by the minute with his team. He knew they've already passed the exam if Hinata could give him just a bit from the rice. "Okay Hinata-chan, but you'll have to feed me. I can't move," Naruto muttered under his voice, seeing he was a bit shy to say it. "Oh, no problem Naruto-kun. Hinata said before she raised her sticks from the box of rice and placed it into Naruto's mouth. Naruto happily chewed it down. Wow, where the hell did Kakashi get this amazing rice? Hinata was pushed to sit down when Kakashi poofed onto their position. What did I say? Hiroki continued to eat, and so did Naruto continue to chew his rice. He's our teammate, we'll need him, it's better to break the rules and protect ourselves. Well, I'm glad to say that you passed. Huh? Hinata was surprised since she didn't understand the test the way her other teammates did. A friend of mine once told me that those who break the rules are scum, but those who don't protect their teammates are even worse than scum. Wow, nice speech, so where's your friend? Hiro asked curiously. He died sometimes ago. Anyways, congratulations, we'll start our training, bonding, torturing and missions tomorrow. See you guys later. Wait, did he say torturing? Naruto asked as he stood beside Hiroki. How did you get out? Hiro asked, a confused look on his face. Oh, why'd I even bother? You've showed a lot of skills since you came. Naruto sat down, now the team formed a circle. So, Naruto, where did you learn how to fight like that? Naruto saw just how much he could trust his teammates, and decided to let out a little of his journeys. Well, I learned how to add power by working out and exercising my muscles from my mother, and then she taught me how to control my affinity, and then my twin uncles taught me swordsmanship. Hinata and Hiroki listened carefully when Naruto said everything. They were both surprised and impressed. Then why the hell did you come back here, Naruto? Oh, well, I wanted to stay loyal to my village and see through the shinobi life, Naruto said with a smile. Hiruzen and Kushina watched on as the three kept discussing. Wow, they do make a great team. Hokage-sama, Naruto once told me something when we were away. And what is that? He made a vow to protect Konoha, but he also made another entirely crazy plan. Hiruzen urged her to continue while he listened attentively. Well, Naruto said if he doesn't get the villagers to acknowledge him soon enough, he'll become a missing nin, destroy the village, and rebuild it in Ai and Minato's name. Time equals 9:30 a.m. Location: Konohagakure. Team 7 had been doing the normal stuffs genin would normally do, something that annoyed two certain male members of the team. The team had gotten much more closer during the usual and annoying cat retrieval mission, weeding, keeping dogs and all other ridiculous missions that they were sent on. Naruto and Ren were ready to make it clear to their sensei just after they caught the black cat that kept running away. I could swear that we've caught this cat over 6 times, Hiro exclaimed as he grabbed the cat and made sure it didn't escape his arms. It's normal, that's what we get as genin. Let's go return this damned cat back to its owner, Naruto said easily and coolly, clearly aiming his first words at their sensei. It's normal for genin to get this kind of missions, Naruto, Kakashi quickly started as they walked back to the cat owner's house. It's essential for the village economy. While I say fuck the economy, I need some real mission, where I get to fight this guy that's trying to kill the other guy, yeah, that kind of mission. Kakashi only sighed as Naruto made his statement, sensing some truth in the blonde's words. The four had been training together and they've been getting even better with teamwork, Kakashi teaching them some new moves and normal ninja stuff. After knocking the door, some moments later, a woman opened the door and accepted the cat. She thanked the team before literally bear hugging the cat. I guess I know why it keeps running away, Hinata said under her voice, Hiro replying with a chuckle. I guess so. Well, that's all for today. That better not be all, cause I'm sick and tired of chasing around cats and walking dogs around. Okay, Naruto, but it's essential. Kakashi was totally cut off when Hiroki joined the discussion. The economy, we get it, other genin would do this stuff, I need some real action. The Jonin sighed at the truth that his students were saying. Or, Hinata, aren't you tired? Hiro asked his feminine teammate. Hinata only nodded before she spoke. Well, Kakashi-sensei, it's true, I never expected such missions. Over the bonding and training of the three, Naruto and Hiro had brought up Hinata's confidence in herself and promised her that they were a team and they will always be there for each other. Okay then, let's head to the Hokage Tower and see if we can get a good mission. Location: Hokage office. Hiruzen smoked his pipe slowly and gently. The old Hokage resting his mind and soul as he did. Always nice to rest, hey? Hey old man. Hiruzen was awoken and raised his head to see the prodigy Team 7 in front of him and his favorite adopted-like son, Uzumaki Naruto. You promised us missions, not cat chasing. I'm sick and tired, old man, Naruto quickly ranted out. When he was done, he simply exhaled and laid his back on the wall in a cool manner. The Sandame only had a positive smile on his face. I knew you'd coming banging at my door soon, so let's do this. I'll give you a C-rank mission. Your mission will be to guide and protect this man through Konoha to Kirigakure no Sato from bandits. Hiruzen started in his lovable old and mushy voice. Bring him in. Following instructions of the Hokage, a gray-haired, bespectacled man with a large beard and dark eyes arrived in the room. He wore a sleeveless V-neck shirt with an obi, pants and a pair of sandals. He also carried a towel around his neck and wore a pointed hat on his head. What? I asked for protection against bandits and you're giving me this. I'm sorry, Mr. Tazuna, but with the money you dropped, this is all that I can afford to give you. The man referred to as Tazuna just drank from the bottle held in his hand before grunting. Well, let's get going, maggots, he started before looking at Kakashi. Cyclops, let's move. Kakashi plainly nodded as the man walked out. Naruto, Hiro, Hinata, go get ready and meet us at the gate in 30 minutes. The three responded with a, yes sir, and flicked out of sight to their respective homes. Location: Gate of Konoha. Hinata, Hiroki and Naruto waited at the gate of Konoha, their client in check, their sensei, not. We've been here for 30 minutes, where the hell is Cyclops? My apologies, I had to tidy up some things before I left the house, Kakashi said as he appeared. Team 7 were all carrying bags and some had slight changes to their dresses. Hiro wore the same black short-sleeved top with the Uchiha crest at the back and black shorts. His forehead protector was covered at the right side due to the bags that fell onto his right eye. He wore arm guards on both his hands. Naruto, meanwhile, wore a black high-collar coat that reached his knees. It had a longer tail at the right side. He wore a white vest under, but the coat was buttoned and closed for now. He wore black fit leather pants like the Anbu did and his katana was sheathed on his back. Well, let's get going. The walk to the land of waves was a long and silent one. Naruto, Hiro and Kakashi kept their eyes open for any suspicious activity while Hinata's job was to guard Tazuna, a man who simply just drank on his sake. Naruto walked on gently, his hands inside his pocket and lazily moved, but he was as keen as he ever could be. Play, Papa Roach, last resort. Some moments later, the group saw and walked over a puddle of water, something that caught the attention of Naruto, Hiro and Kakashi. Water? It hasn't rained for days, what a dumb setup. Naruto thought as he slowly let his hands loose from his pocket and cracked his fists. After walking some meters from the puddle, two ninja came out of it. Kakashi, Hiro and Naruto quickly noticing them. They were connected to their gauntlets with a chain. The two unknown ninja ran towards Kakashi and he was quickly torn apart by the sharp chain that went through him. Hinata, Hiroki, protect Tazuna, Naruto quickly said as he skidded backwards and brought out his two hands from his pocket. Kaden. Gokyaku no Jutsu. Hiro quickly made hand signs and released a large fireball towards the two ninja, the attack easily evaded by the two. Naruto gave a thumbs up to Hiro before he ran towards the two, who were just balancing on their feet. Naruto approached him with a roundhouse kick, which the ninja evaded by ducking. Naruto smirked and went lower than the unknown ninja and kicked him up successfully and launched him high into the air. Naruto immediately teleported to the other ninja and held his neck before forcefully hurling him at his friend, the result being both of them smacked onto a tree and being knocked out cold. Kakashi appeared out of the trees and walked towards the two ninja. I thought you were dead? Tazuna stuttered as Kakashi appeared. Looks can be deceiving, the Jonin quickly replied as he neared the two ninja that Naruto had just taken out. Tazuna observed Kakashi's dead spot and noticed it was replaced by a log. He made hand signs and water suddenly poured onto the head of the two ninja, abruptly waking them up. Naruto was quick to react after he appeared at the tree and held two kunai up to their neck. Who are you guys? Naruto asked, but the two ninja failed to reply him. They are the demon brothers of the Hidden Mist, Gozu and Maizu, Kakashi answered Naruto's question. Demon? Please, these aren't demons, I've seen demons. I took them out without even using a weapon. You wanna see demon? We'll show you demon? the two brothers said in unison as a black and greenish aura suddenly engulfed them both. Kakashi-sensei, please listen to me and protect Tazuna. Kakashi knew very well the tone of seriousness in Naruto's voice and made a hand seal as the four of them suddenly disappeared out of sight. Stop. Last resort. Play. Naruto raising fighting spirit. Gozu and Maizu were still covered by the demonic aura, something Naruto knew far too well beyond recognition and scent. He sniffed the smell of the aura and had the smirk a maniac would normally have come onto his face. Well, Gozu. Maizu, let's have some fun, the blonde said in a manner and kicked his katana from his back. Gozu and Maizu also replied, having both merged up together to become one large demonic entity. The demon stood over 7 feet tall and had a body with lava intersecting it. Immediately Naruto grabbed his katana, the two charged at him in increased speed. Naruto replied and charged at them also, the two swiping right past each other. Jackpot, Gozu, Maizu, Naruto said in a very cool manner as the demon exploded into bits. The rest of Team 7 and their client appeared, having observed the battle from a rather far angle. Told ya they weren't real demons, stupid bunch of brothers. Naruto said to his teammates before he placed his sword on his back and slotted his hands into his pocket. Hiro and Hinata quickly ran to the blonde and they discussed on how awesome he was. Tazuna, you said you were to be protected from bandits? Kakashi quickly said, bringing up the topic. You can clearly see they were bandits. It was a random attack, Tazuna stuttered in reply. No, Mr. Tazuna, that was no random attack, Naruto said in a cold voice. You can feel the steel on your neck, right? So I expect you to perform and spit it out. Tazuna's heart beat fast as he felt cold steel right on his neck, pressing deeper by the second. Okay, I'll talk, he gave up. I'm a bridge builder from the land of waves. A businessman named Gato had taken over our land, businesses and borders, so I intend to build a bridge that'll lead to another village so that business can start going smoothly again. Naruto listened carefully to the bridge builder's words and sensed the truth before placing his sword back in his sheath. Kakashi-sensei, I think we should help him. Yeah, we should. Kakashi nodded in reply before turning to the Tazuna. We'll guard from this Gato guy until you finish completing your bridge, alright? Tazuna nodded with sign of happiness when the copy ninja finished his statement. Naruto, let's talk, Kakashi said to his student. Naruto quickly walked over to Kakashi and they walked together behind the others. That thing, what exactly was it? It's like I hoped, Kakashi-sensei, they are demons. They have either been branded with the blood of demons by their sender, or simply gained entrance into our world. Kakashi looked confused when he heard Naruto using the word, hoped, like he had been praying for demons to be attacking. After the team reached the hidden mist, the walk through Land of Waves was pretty straightforward until they started to feel a lot of ki being thrown onto them. Naruto, whose hands had been in his pocket all the time, simply unbuttoned his coat slowly, knowing this fight was gonna be tougher than the last one. After the blonde was done, he waved his hands with force and released his own ki, overpowering the attackers. Show yourself and let's end this quickly, Naruto said in a serious tone. Don't push your luck, Gaki, you're not even near my level. A tall and noticeably muscular man with pale skin, short spiky black hair, brown eyes, and small eyebrows stood on the branch of a tree in front of Naruto. He was wearing bandages like a mask over the bottom half of his face. He wore his forehead protector sideways on his head. He wore a sleeveless black shirt and matching pants, complete with a waistguard. But I know very well who you are, Zabuza Momochi. The Uzumaki knew much about the hidden villages due to his extensive reading forced on him by his uncles and his scary mother. Also called the Demon of the Hidden Mist. Naruto's eyes grew angry with flames riding all over them, anime style. He looked at his sensei with one hand in his pocket, and pointed the other one at him. Oi, I told you none of these guys are demons. Kakashi's sweat dropped when massive ki surrounded him. Wow, Kushina's behavior rubbed off of him. Now, back to this rat. Naruto turned his gaze to the demon of the hidden mist. Oi, author girl, what the fuck did I say about calling him a demon? Oh, sorry Ruto-chan. Stop the dumb play, you little Gaki. Naruto gazed at branch where Zabuza stood, the rogue ninja standing with a lot of confidence as he held his large sword. Okay then rat, let's get on with this. No, Naruto, he's a tough opponent, Kakashi stated as he prepared to walk towards his student. Naruto didn't release his ki but his chakra this time as it flared around like a tornado. Kakashi understood the message and went around Tazuna. Here I come. Zabuza jumped off the tree and sliced down with his blade. Naruto easily let out a hand from his pocket and held the blade along with Zabuza in the air. You won't hit me with such weak swings, rat, the blonde replied in a non-enthusiastic manner and threw Zabuza away along with his sword. The demon of the hidden mist skidded on the ground like a rat before he stopped and looked at Naruto. What? He's not even moved, and my blade didn't even cut through him? Naruto looked down at the ground and didn't move, he just waited for his opponent to have a few more swings before he started to unleash his attacks, his left hand still in his pocket. Zabuza grabbed Kabikirabocho tighter and flicked to Naruto's left side. Yes, this is his weak spot. The hidden mist criminal slashed his sword from his right to Naruto's left side, something Naruto easily countered by pushing his right hand to Zabuza's sword again and catching it. Oi, I told you, you won't cut me with your weak swings, rat. Naruto said before pushing Zabuza again. This time the criminal crashed onto a tree. Zabuza, you'll have to get serious soon or you'll die, Naruto said, his left hand still buried in his pocket. Zabuza saw the seriousness in his opponent's face and mood. He saw that the kid wasn't boasting or being over his mouth. Okay then, Zabuza said and stood up, immediately making hand seals. Kirigakure no jutsu, Zabuza said. Nope, I don't like that jutsu, Naruto quickly replied and appeared right beside the rogue ninja. He proceeded to grab Zabuza by his neck and then use enough force to hit him on the tree. Sorry Zabuza, I just kinda hate the mist. Now, who are you called to attack? Zabuza just grunted and released his chakra, forcing Naruto to move and skid back a bit. Like you'll get me that easily, I am the demon of the hidden mist, and I won't get defeated by a little Gaki who didn't even use his katana when he battled me. Different changes appeared on Zabuza's body. His skin tone changed to a more crimson aura as the chakra raged on around him. He's getting stronger, finally, a real battle. So, Zabuza, you wanna see my katana? Naruto asked the rogue ninja in a serious tone. Yes, show it to me, Zabuza replied in a demonic enraged tone, sounding like there were 10 of him. He held Kabikirabocho back and took a stance as he bent his knees a bit and leapt forward. Well then, you'll only get to see it for a second, Naruto said before he quickly kicked his sword, spun and grabbed the katana. He charged at a charging Zabuza and they went right past each other. The blonde then sheathed the sword and placed his hands in his pocket. You're defeated, Zabuza. Zabuza, who was now laying down on his knees, having used his chakra to nullify the slash of the katana, and just gained a minor cut on his waist. Naruto teleported to him, grabbed him, then teleported back to the same tree and smacked the demon of the hidden mist on it. Now, you were sent by Gato to kill Tazuna, right? Don't worry about that, I'll take care of him. Naruto looked up to a branch and saw a hunter nin with a mask on their face. Your job's done, I'll dispose off his body, the nin said as it jumped down and grabbed Zabuza over their shoulder. Well, okay then, later, Naruto shrugged as he talked and turned to face his teammates. Good work kid, I'm pretty. I mean hell yeah, I'm really impressed, Tazuna yelled out of happiness, making Hiro and Hinata chuckle. Thank you, Mr. Tazuna, Naruto said and smiled, but it's not yet over, I think that hunter nin was a subordinate of Zabuza. Then he's still alive, and he'll be back to get Tazuna, Kakashi ended his student's words. Well, nice job Naruto, I'm impressed. Hiroki vs Zabuza. Team 7 had been resting at Tazuna's house for a while. They met his beautiful daughter, Tsunami, and their grandson called Inari. The team had been training extensively, Naruto and Kakashi being the teachers, and Hiro and Hinata managed to gather new skills, and improving their former ones. Hinata became a very fast gentle fist user, while Hiro, despite not having awakened his Sharingan, improved his taijutsu and even managed to create other fire techniques through the fire release. Hiro had then something none of the team members had expected. He had asked Naruto to brawl with him, hoping that he would get to test his skills, but the two then trained in secret and Naruto improved Hiro's skills even further, unknown to Kakashi. Naruto had denied, saying he could release it all when they battle Zabuza again, and advising him to never rush into battle, except he was him. Another event was the total blasting and advising, as he would often call it, of Naruto to Inari. After the kid was blabbing about how Gato would kill all of them after he killed his father like man, something the kid would never forget. "So, Naruto, you should meet up with us at the bridge later," Kakashi said as Hiro, Hinata and Tazuna began walking away towards the side of the bridge. "Okay, see y'all later," Naruto said and waved towards the team, receiving a wink from Hinata. Yeah, he'd had a little skirmish with the Hyuga heiress last night after she came to his room and confessed love for him. He took it easily and kissed her, the girl quickly kissing back. When they did, they talked about how much they loved each other before going to sleep, Hinata choosing to lay at Naruto's side. Naruto had only his black Anbu-type pants on, his sword, jacket and bag were in his room and he decided to sleep, having been training through the night to develop his skills for any more demons that showed up. He still didn't understand the appearances of the demons and how they even managed to the nations. Somehow he was happy, since he would be able to say that he wanted to unleash his being a devil hunter and begin to earn better missions and better money for himself. Well, I better get some sleep, don't want to disturb Tsunami-san and start asking for breakfast. The blonde teleported to his room and happily jumped onto his bed before soundly sleeping off, but his body was still very much awake. 2 hours later, our favorite blonde awoke to the sound of someone crashing onto the ground and quickly teleported down to the main room of the house. He saw Tsunami laying on the ground, with two, surprisingly, demons staying outside. They had heads like the skeleton of an antelope and the mushy body of a skinned animal. They also had the legs of antelopes. They stood of average height, as tall as Kakashi, a look Naruto recognized well. "Oh, Auntie Lopez, glad you guys are here. Seems there'll be trouble at the bridge." Naruto stretched out his right hand and his katana, in its sheath, appeared. He grabbed it and removed it, promptly slicing the two demons as he ran through them. "Tsunami-san, I'll be back. I have to go help my friends," Naruto said before he subsequently disappeared out of sight. 30 minutes earlier, Kakashi, Hiro and Hinata were recently surrounding Tazuna from his attacker, Zabuza and his hunter Nen. "Oi, where is that blonde kid?" Zabuza hurriedly asked, wanting to battle the young Uzumaki. "What, you scared that I'll beat you to a pulp?" Hiro asked as he slowly walked towards the criminal. Kakashi cautioned restraint, but the Uchiha simply shrugged and smiled at him. "If I don't battle this guy, I'll never be like Naruto. It's better to gain courage and try and protect my friends instead of staying back and letting you, or Naruto, do it." Before Kakashi could reply, however, Hiro brought a kunai, and dashed towards Zabuza, who just smiled under his mask and brought his own kunai. Hiro surprisingly disappeared out of Zabuza's sight. The criminal, and even Kakashi, were surprised when the ninja appeared out of nowhere and was high above Zabuza's head. Pinpoint, yes, his neck, Hiro thought, remembering Naruto's training. He gripped his kunai tightly before throwing it towards the demon of the hidden mist's neck. Zabuza, however, saw through the attack and grabbed Kabikirabocho before using to shield himself. Hiroki then appeared in front of the thrown kunai and kicked it into Zabuza's blade, making him think the attack was real heavy. Zabuza grunted as he blocked the attack, but Hiro appeared at his back and tried to kick him in the air, all to no avail as Zabuza held his leg with his other hand. Hiro had a large smirk on his face as he lifted his right leg and forcefully smacked it on Zabuza's head before spinning and pushing himself of the criminal's body. He performed a back flip before he landed and skidded to the side of the bridge. Zabuza moved back a bit, an angry look on his face as he wiped his face. "You'll pay for that. With what demon? You're pathetic," Hiro said before he gathered multiple kunai and threw it towards Zabuza, something the ninja easily blocked by swinging his blade. The black-haired Uchiha then appeared in his front again in the air and tried to kick him like before. "Again? No, I won't fall for that." Zabuza's body surprisingly turned to water, shocking the Uchiha. "A shadow clone?" Hiro noticed Zabuza swinging his sword at his back, but he also saw that he had to get closer for the swipe to be a success. "Thanks, Naruto. Shadow clone jutsu." Hiro cried out as a clone appeared under him, and he stepped on him with his leg and used it as a background to perform a back flip over Zabuza's head. He landed successfully. Zabuza tried another swing as soon as he noticed that the Uchiha had dodged it. Hiro easily made another backflip and went further away from the Kiri criminal. Not bad for a brat like you." Yeah, a brat who just kicked your ass. Fool, why do you have such a big ego anyway? Zabuza just scoffed as he placed his sword over his neck. You didn't kick my ass, brat, you touched me once, so stop feeling so big and mighty. Now where the hell is that blonde brat? Zabuza roared out, flaring his chakra around him. Suddenly, everyone noticed Hinata and the hunter Nin staring at someone sitting on the side of the bridge. Play. Painkiller, 3 days grace. Here I am, rat. Naruto said sitting on the bridge. Naruto, where's your jacket? Hiroki asked his teammate curiously before shaking his head. Naruto innocently scratched the back of his head as he noticed he wasn't wearing anything on top, leaving his thin but well-built body on. Naruto's abs were complete and full, his arms were not big, but they were also moderately built. Flashback, 5 years prior. A 8-year-old Naruto was doing push-ups, quickly and efficiently. A man wearing a red coat was walking left and right in front of him. You wanna be ripped like me? Yes, uncle. Naruto replied as he went up and down. Give me 50. 100 it is then, sire. Dante smirked as Naruto continued the push-ups even faster. Someone's learning. End of flashback, present. Sorry, I rushed over here so quick I forgot that I didn't wear anything on top. That's none of my business, Haku, take the black-haired kid and the girl, I'll deal with this brat. The hunter Nin, referred to as Haku, snapped out of her staring at Naruto and quickly made hand signs as she disappeared and appeared behind Hiroki. I'll be playing with you, now, she said maliciously before grabbing Hiro and disappearing. I'll defeat the rodent here, head over to save Hiro, wait for anything else, and then the job's done. Let's go, Zabuza. I don't intend on wasting any more time with you, Naruto said. His katana in its sheath was in his right hand and he brought it out, slowly. Zabuza smirked like a maniac and ran towards Naruto, his own blade with him. I sense a demon in you, Zabuza. Some demons, the anti-Lopez as Naruto had called them, appeared, over a horde of them, and they ran towards Tazuna. Kakashi-sensei, Hinata, handle them, they aren't as tough as they look. Naruto shouted before he began to charge towards Zabuza. The two clashed with their swords and left a large gust of wind in their wake, equally matching each other's strength. You've grown stronger. Thanks to Gato's little experiments, I'm now truly a demon. Zabuza roared out in an inhuman voice before he retreated his sword and tried a horizontal swing from his right. Naruto easily dodged and made a backflip before shooting a glare towards Zabuza. Don't you think that's dangerous and stupid? No, I don't. Kirigakure number jutsu. Rodent, I told you I fucking hate that jutsu. Kaden. Gokakyu no jutsu. Sweden. Suiryuden no jutsu. Kakashi stood in a cool stance as he held his kunai. He was backing Tazuna and so was Hinata, also with her own kunai. Thanks to Naruto, Hinata mastered the body flicker, so she should be fine on her own. The demons soon started running towards them. Kakashi gripped his kunai and started running forward, signaling to Hinata to stay put. Kakashi efficiently stabbed through the first demon in its eye. He turned, grabbed another kunai, and stabbed the other demon. The copy ninja removed the kunai and threw both at the other two that had ran past him while he finished the two. He rolled forward on the ground, and immediately jumped as he stood up, throwing a barrage of kunai towards the oncoming Lopez. Fun name, huh? The attack hit and killed a large number of them as they all disappeared in dust-like materials. Raiden. Reikuri. Kakashi made hand seals and generated lightning chakra into his hand before bending down a bit. He then disappeared and ran around, thrusting his signature attack through the rest of demons and appeared back at the spot he was, breathing heavily. Kakashi-sensei, that was amazing, Hinata squeaked as she praised her sensei. I am never calling you Cyclops again, but what exactly were those things? Tazuna asked, clearly shocked at the sight of demons with skinned skins. Well, Tazuna, those were demons. We're not yet exactly sure how they got here, but I have a feeling they are related to Gato. Tazuna nodded and gulped in fear, happy to be guarded by amazing ninjas. Hinata, go and help Hiro. I'll stay in guard for any other demons. Hi, Hinata nodded before she ran towards the ice mirror that had now been created by an unknown person. With Hiroki. Hijutsu. Mikio Hyosho, that is my special Kekkei Genkei, demonic mirroring ice crystals. Hiro was looking at different mirrors with Haku in each of them. 12 remained at ground level, 8 floated above the first 12 and angled towards the ground, and the final mirror was above the rest and facing the ground. So, lady, you're gonna start attacking me or what? Stop. Painkiller 3 days grace. You know I'm a girl, how cute, Haku said beneath her mask. She had long black hair, pale skin and large, dark brown eyes, a slender frame but was quite busty and was also quite short for her age. She wore a green haori with white trimmings, and around her waist a brown sash with a fringed trail wrapped around his waist twice. Haku's long hair was gathered in a white bun holder, while 2 locks of her hair fell loose framing her face, bound with metal hair cuffs at the ends. Hiro couldn't help but notice how beautiful she looked. Wow, you're beautiful. Haku was caught off guard and her eyes widened when he heard his words. Kaden. Gokyaku no Jutsu. Hiro quickly formed hand seals and held the tiger sign up to his mouth before releasing a large fireball towards the mirror that he could hit. Surprisingly, none of the mirrors melted, not even showed sign like they were about to melt, leaving Hiroki dumbfounded. What the? It should have melted. I'm sorry they didn't boy. It might be ice but you'll need stronger fire to be able melt it. You caught me off guard, and now you'll pay. Sensatsu Suisho. 1,000 flying water needles. Haku gathered water and then formed them into multiple needles. They surrounded the Uchiha but weren't above him, signifying an escape route for Hiroki, although he had to jump higher than usual. These are 1,000 needles, Haku said as she hurled the needles in the air towards the Uchiha. HMPH, I'll gather chakra in my leg and jump over, then I'll try the Ryuka no Jutsu. Hiro gathered chakra in his feet and released as he lunged into the air. He spun in the air as the needles went below him. Hiro stopped spinning when felt a pinch of pain in his legs. He noticed that a needle had managed to him on his knee, and then a few others on his ankle. Hiro grunted in pain as he fell back down. He landed softly but succumbed to the pain and fell down on his butt. Oh, sorry kid, it seems you aren't as fast as you think you are. Hiro just grabbed his leg and ignored the girl. He knew she had much experience than she did as she was 3 years older than he was, but he had also learned a lot. Hiro managed to stand up and left his ankle. He heaved a few breaths silently before glaring at the girl in the mirror. The Uchiha gathered some kunai and hurled them at the mirrors, each one just managing to stab it a little and not deal serious damage to them. You said I'd need a stronger fire technique, huh? Well, here it is. Hiro held up the tiny threads that were connected to the thrown kunai and went through hand seals. What? How did you? Kaden. Ryuka no Jutsu. A large blaze of fire appeared in front of Hiro and then went over through the threads to the stabbed mirrors, burning them intensely. Hiro smirked, but was losing chakra as his left eye closed out of exhaustion. If you think you'll defeat me that easily, don't. I'll protect myself and my friends. Not bad for a kid, but you're still pathetic. Zabuza-sama didn't even take you seriously one bit. No, I'll get my ass kicked this way. Sensatsu Suisho. Haku once again raised her needles, although this time, she was behind the Uchiha, giving her an advantage over the bruised and exhausted Genin. Haku grunted as she released the needles towards Hiro, only for them to be at the last minute blocked a human shield. Hiro-kun, don't lay around like that. You could get yourself killed. Hiro's eyes widened when he heard Hinata's words. The Uchiha turned back and saw that she had shielded him from the needles onto him and been injured badly as blood flowed from her mouth. Get up, Hiro, she said with a smile before collapsing beside the shocked Uchiha. Play. Raising fighting spirit theme. No, you'll pay for that. Hiro closed his eyes and gripped his fists. Oh how? You're just a fake Uchiha. Hiro opened his eyes and revealed a Sharingan with one tomo. I'll kill you. Naruto was pretty much handling the battle well. His strength and speed kept him from being hit by Zabuza in the very much thick mist that surrounded him now. You're done for kid. No one escapes my mist, Zabuza spoke in an inhuman voice. Zabuza, you're possessed. This is not you. You're fighting like a maniac, Naruto said coolly. He gripped his sword tightly before placing it into its sheath. Ugaki, I am a maniac. Naruto expertly released his katana again as Zabuza struck out of nowhere with even more increased power, causing him to grunt in effort. I'll take you out, demon, Naruto said in a fit of rage as Zabuza retreated and disappeared with the mist again. Suiryuden no Jutsu. Naruto noticed a large water dragon coming at him his back. The blonde gathered his sword as an idea came to him. That must be his location, I'll transfer lightning through the water and then I'll follow it if it doesn't take him out. Naruto analyzed in his head and stretched out his hand towards the oncoming dragon. Raiden. Inazuma. Blue lightning gathered around the blonde kid and then they turned into a orange-crimson color. The lightning then formed around the katana before blasting right through the water dragon, severing a hole in it. The bolt of lightning went straight through the water dragon and onto the off-guard Zabuza. Zabuza just smirked as he raised his sword and chakra flared around him before he gathered said chakra and made a crazy swipe towards the oncoming bolt of lightning. Found you. Zabuza flipped his sword into the air as he used both of his hands to block Naruto's mid-air kick towards his face. Naruto. Help me. It's taking over me, Zabuza said in a normal state of voice before it transversed and his eyes took a red color. Shut up you brat, let's end this Gaki. HMPH, if I manage to beat him enough, it should send the demon out, but that will result in the death of Zabuza, and then a boss battle. Naruto made a back flip and skidded before charging towards the demonized Zabuza. They had a quick and brutal taijutsu spar before Naruto started to gain the upper hand and landed a devastating right hook to Zabuza's face. He continued the barrage by giving him a series of punches in the tummy and then an uppercut that sent the criminal flying. Naruto wasn't finished yet as he jumped up and gave the shinobi an even more brutal roundhouse kick. Zabuza fell down unconscious before roaring in pain. A green aura went out of him like smoke, coming from his eyes, ears, nose and mouth before forming beside him. Gaki here managed to beat the fucker enough to send Gato out huh? Now Gato has his full power again. Really? A third-person demon? So you're the one terrorizing the people of the Land of Waves? Oh yes, and soon, Gato will be the one terrorizing you and your friends. Well then, now the real battle begins. Kaden. Goryuka no Jutsu. Hiro released the largest fire dragon out of his mouth towards the remaining ice mirrors. He had to gather a large amount of chakra, but he somehow did due to his new power. He had only done it once, and he was severely exhausted when managed to do it, but it was different this time. Haku managed to disappear from the mirrors as they got burnt into brits. She landed some distance away from Hiroki, the fire now forming a large circle around both of them. The black-haired genin didn't allow her to balance. In a fit of rage, Hiro gathered some kunai and hurled it at the masked hunter Nen. Haku realized the intense force he used to throw the kunai and could only bend down in time for them to pass. He's gotten angrier and stronger. Haku gasped when stood straight up as Hiroki was already face to face with her with his hand retreated in a sign that he was about to punch her and a face that showed the punch was really gonna hurt. The blow didn't connect however as Haku managed to extend her left hand to meet his punch, before pushing herself backwards. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu. Hiro made hand signs again as his eyes widened. Yes, I can see. He released an even larger fireball towards the ice user before gathering kunai and gathering chakra in his leg. Suiden. Suiryuden no Jutsu. Haku countered the technique by releasing her own water dragon bullet technique towards the fireball. While she waited on the resulting smoke, she noticed some kunai coming at her way. She quickly gathered water and swung it around, pressing the force of the ninja tools. Fuma Shuriken. As said by the Uchiha, a shuriken was hurled through the smoke at Haku. Something she easily dodged by ducking, but her eyes were widened when the shuriken poofed and transformed into Hiroki. Take this, Hiro roared out loudly as Sharingan flicked before punching Haku hard in her mask. The punch, out of sheer anger was hard enough to crack the mask and send Haku crashing into the ground. Hiro felt pain in his right fist, but he didn't really give a rat's ass about it yet. He'd get treatment later. Hiro raised Haku with his left hand smirked at her cracking mask. I gotta thank you, you made activate my Sharingan. Hiro proceeded to retreat his hand before smashing it once again through Haku's mask, breaking the mask in the process and sending her flying some meters away before abruptly landing on her back. That's for Hinata-chan. Immediately the punch landed, Hiro's Sharingan went off. He felt severely weak, but still managed to look at Haku's beautiful face. He just saw and noticed how beautiful she looked as she knelt beside her. Why the fuck do you work for a mercenary like Zabuza? Zabuza-sama looked at me when nobody else did. In this world of shinobi, we're all tools. Some are just stronger enough to utilize those said tools. Keep blabbing on about tools and I'll punch you and your partner. Haku was shocked on his reply, thinking of why he cared so much about her. Why would you? See, shut up, just kill me already. Hiro just smirked before he started to walk off towards Hinata. You're not as dangerous as you seem. You could have killed me but you kept hesitating, so I won't kill you. Haku only frowned in sadness, she felt so embarrassed. She had been defeated by an Uchiha who was 3 years younger than her, and only used fire techniques. I wonder how Naruto's faring. You can help then, Zabuza has not been himself lately. What do you mean? Hiro asked as he turned back to look at the girl that was on the ground. Gato isn't human, he's a demon that took the form of a human and then possessed Zabuza. He forced us to work for him unless he'd kill Zabuza. Right now, I feel Zabuza's chakra decreasing by the minute. You have to go and help Naruto, because Gato isn't really a demon. He's a black knight, a sheath also. Naruto just sighed as Gato charged at him with incredible speed. He has an unstable and high amount of energy, this is going to be difficult. The blonde brought out his sword in time to parry Gato's slash but could not block his mid-air kick that sent him flying across the bridge. Naruto, if you don't fight seriously, you might die. Picture Gato like Madara. Gato went through some hand seals before stretching his palm forward. Akpu. Harayu. Roughly, I think, translates to devil art, fire dragon. A fire dragon appeared, coming out of the demon's hand until it reached a large size. He grabbed his hand and then pushed forward towards Naruto. Fuuten. Rasen Shuriken. Gato's eyes widened when a large wind technique, looking a lot like a shuriken, passed through his dragon, quenched it and came straight at him. The technique hit its mark and was spinning ferociously, cutting down the demon, who was still shocked. The technique stopped and then disappeared, with Gato falling to his feet. Due to his nature as a devil, he was only bleeding badly, but he wasn't cut yet, and still had plenty of a fight in him. Yubaga. That won't take me. Reikuri. Gato felt lightning penetrate through him from the back unexpectedly. He noticed that it was Kakashi. You're really pathetic afterwards, I didn't have to release my sword, Naruto said as he appeared in front of Gato and stabbed him in the neck. Now how about you go back to that shithole? Gato just smirked before he began to chuckle. Don't worry kid, I haven't even began to fight fully. Gato coughed up blood before he succumbed to his injuries and fell down. Naruto retreating his sword, Kakashi retreating his hand. Well, that's all for now. Kaden. Goryuka no Jutsu. Naruto and Kakashi both gasped before flicking out of sight as a large fire dragon came up from Gato's mouth, larger than normal, and spread around before disappearing. The devil then laughed manically before smiling towards Kakashi. Jonin, this is not your battle, if you interfere. Gato's smile then changed into a devilish glare. I'll kill you. Then no more talking Gato, let's get this on. A sound came from Naruto's body and something beneath him woke up. So you finally decided to contact me after 2 years, Gaki. Fox. Sorry about the shunning, but I need a bit of a chakra boost. I don't want to get trigger happy. Even though you fucked up, I'll still give you. Naruto vastly went through a set of hand seals before ending with the Tora sign. Kurama's chakra engulfed Naruto and he flared it around like a tornado. The force was much and little mist that remained cleared off, but the day was still somewhat dark. Naruto finished his little connection and now had some changes. His hair was shaggy and rough, his whisker marks were thicker and his muscles had grown just a tiny bit. Another noticeable change were his teeth, as his canine grew and had a much more sharper look. Someone got serious, I think I will too, Gato said in a joking manner before a blue aura came up around him and began flaring also. After a while it disappeared and Gato looked more like a demon king. He was wearing gauntlets on his arms and legs and a helmet on his now blue face, with only his yellow eyes showing. He had grown taller and was wearing a simple armor and had a red gem at the middle top of his helmet. Naruto just smirked as he felt that the battle was going to be one where he could actually die. He first started with a chuckle before laughing all out like a maniac would. Finally, here I come, Naruto shouted. Gato was fast enough as Naruto had already closed the gap between both of them and attempted to strike down from mid-air with his katana. Naruto disappeared before he even completed the strike, which left Gato grunting and placing his gauntlets up in a stance, ready for anything. Kaden. Goryuka no Jutsu. Gato grunted again when he heard Naruto yelling behind him and looked back. That won't work on me. Kaden. Goryuka no Jutsu. Gato released his own fire dragon and the two clashed before disappearing again. Naruto dashed towards Gato while spinning before stopping and attempting a kick on the devil's forehead. Gato forcefully grabbed Naruto's leg, gauntlets in hand. It hurt the blonde kid and he grunted out of pain. Gato smirked and hurled him towards the side of the bridge. You won't catch me, Gaki. He doesn't want me near his head. Naruto teleported to Gato's back, skidding as he did. Gato was about to block another attack from the Namikaze Uzumaki clansmen, but was surprised when all the blonde did was throw a smoke bomb on the ground, causing white smoke to come around. Hero. Hiroki gasped when he heard his name being called out. He turned to his back and saw Naruto. What, aren't you fighting? No, I need your help. Naruto blocked another powerful punch from Gato's devil form before skidding backwards. There was a smirk running on the blonde's face which made Gato get very angry. What's that smug for, kid? You can't defeat me. I don't want to, but we can, Hero. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu. Hero yelled out behind Gato and released a large fireball towards the devil. Gato easily waved off the fireball with a frown, getting irritated. I told you, you can't kill me with those useless. He was caught off guard when Naruto suddenly appeared in front of him and retreated his right hand. The Uzumaki Namikaze clansman then let his right hand go straight to the gem at the middle of the devil's forehead. The hit landed and there was a large gust of wind from the resulting punch and there was a crack on the gem. Gato started to stagger backwards as green peeped out of the broken gem. Fool, you'll pay for that. Hero was now at the back of Naruto. He saw the devil making a run towards him as he spread his killer intent. The Uchiha activated his Sharingan and picked a kunai from his pouch. Pinpoint range, there. Hero gathered chakra in his hand and then let it go after he threw his kunai towards Gato. The kunai went like a missile and quickly hit its mark, right on the gem, breaking it completely. Great, now Hero will get the devil trigger, he won't need to chase me anymore. Bye Gato, it's over. Naruto said in a cool manner and left his stance, standing straight. Shut up brat, I defeated him. The Uzumaki looked back and saw a smirking Hero. He felt like he was getting much more closer with the Uchiha, and definitely preferred him to his cousin. Yeah, right after I weakened him. You all will pay for this. I shouldn't have failed, but he promised me that. No. Gato screamed out as he disappeared in a fit of dust. Not really classy dying words, but still, I don't give a fuck. Hero said towards Naruto and he and the blonde laughed. I think I'm gonna pass out. Hero said quickly before falling down. 3 days later, Team 7 were done with their mission. Naruto had recovered from his skirmish with Zabuza, Gato and had come back to full form. They had protected Tazuna from any other demon that might come towards him. They also trained and Hero managed to get better with his Sharingan right after Naruto managed to heal Hinata, and after plenty of rest, she also recovered. Haku had decided to follow them when they were going back to Konoha due to Zabuza's defeat at the hands of Naruto. She had asked to be trained by Hero and Naruto when they get to Konoha, the former because he managed to best her in battle. Speaking of Zabuza, he peacefully passed on after saying some touching words, according to Hero, who ended up shedding a tear after the criminal apologized to Haku for he had treated her and concluded that he loved her before passing on. The mission was almost done and the team were at the bridge once again. Hinata, Naruto, Haku and Hiroki were just talking while Kakashi watched Tazuna and the villagers work. After hearing of the defeat of Zabuza, the workers of Tazuna who had deflected before, began to come back, positively. Kakashi had gotten the strategy for the demons. He had also learned from his blonde student that there were different types of demons, a lot that Kakashi could kill, and some not that easily. Naruto couldn't wait to get his first pay as a shinobi of Konoha, and he hoped it would be a good pay, cause he had calculated the fact that he had to fight a devil he wasn't even sure was dead. Blonde, that jutsu, where did you learn it? Hero asked curiously. He had been on the battlefield right on time when he saw Naruto hurl the Rasen Shuriken towards Gato. Oh, that technique. Flashback. Naruto is 10 years old and is breathing heavily. He was wearing a black shirt and orange pants and was resting with his hands on his knees. "Ka-san, we don't have to do this anymore, I'll train tomorrow." Kushina was standing in front of her son. She wore a white coat over a white vest and baggy short pants. Even Minato wouldn't have given up on something like this. "No, it's true, I should never give up." Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto made a hand sign as he shouted. Two clones appeared beside him and they immediately got to work, one making hand seals and the other creating a technique with Naruto. The blonde soon held it up, he grunted, shouted and then threw the technique towards a rock, food and Rasen Shuriken. Naruto was still snoring happily in bed, and by happily, he really was happy. He got a new, beautiful and nice-chested girl living in his house. The blonde slowly started to wake up when the sun shone on him. He decided to sleep in late because he had a day off that day right after the 1-week recovery after he come back from Kirigakure. You sleep pretty deep for someone with your abilities. Naruto's eyes went wide and he jumped to the window. He calmed down when he saw Haku staring at him, her cheeks having a blood-red color. Naruto once again wasn't wearing any upper attire, only a skinny black track pants. "Good morning Haku-chan, how was your night?" "Oh, well, it was okay," the kunoichi said, snapping herself out of the illusion she placed herself in. "This is really weird," the two thought in unison. 3 hours later. "Arg, what could Kakashi-sensei want with us? I thought this was our day off." "Calm down, Hiro-kun, it's probably just a training session." On a day off? Hiroki didn't admit it, but he was somewhat happy about training. He had been testing his new devil arm from the previous day and he was starting to get it. His devil arm was literally on his arm, but he could summon it depending on his will. It could appear like an arm guard running from his biceps down to his wrist, and then it would extend into a long sword. Maybe it's because of Haku-chan. "Oh, Haku, well it's okay then." Hiro sat back down beside his female teammate. He didn't know why, but ever since he had been at the Team 7 training ground, he had just been continuously staring at the Hyuga. "She's really attractive," the Uchiha thought. Hiro always thought that she felt more attracted to Naruto than she was to him, something he had slowly started to despise the Uzumaki Namikaze clansmen for. The Uchiha's thoughts were interrupted when Naruto and Haku suddenly appeared some feet away from them, holding hands. "So, you like fancy restaurants?" Naruto asked in a cool manner. He was wearing a simple white sleeveless vest and the same black track pants. The Namikaze didn't really want to dress up. Naruto had been flirting with the ice-style user ever since they started talking. He looked young, but he still remembered the lessons he learned from his uncles. And yes, uncles. The blonde even remembers Virgil being the one who taught him to get into girls' pants, but he should give a genuine idea. "No, not something fancy, we could go for some food, dessert, and then we could just look at the seas or something," Haku replied in a nice kinda way, a happy smile waving on her face as she neared the remaining Team 7. Despite losing her father-like figure, she felt soothed by being with these people, especially Kushina. The older kunoichi had told her to come to her if she ever needs training and lightened her up by telling her how beautiful and she was, something she always blushed at. "Well, anyway you like it, Haku-chan." She didn't know why, but she just felt attracted to Naruto. His voice, his shape and build, slim, but fit, his abilities or his scent, she just didn't know. "Hiro, Hinata-chan, what's up?" "Oi, Naruto-kun, Haku-chan." Hiro just waved a hand politely at the two. He didn't want to begin to hate his friend, scratch that, the only genuine friend who understood him. So he made a decision, he was gonna talk it out with the Uzumaki. "Naruto, could we talk for some while?" The blonde could sense the seriousness in the Uchiha's tone and walked to a nearby tree while Haku went to sit beside Hinata, both shyly starting to chat while Hiroki went to meet Naruto under the tree. "What's up Hiro?" the Uzumaki asked in his nicest tone. He already knew about Hiro's feelings for the kunoichi on their team. The way he studied people made it easy for him to figure it all out. "Do you like Hinata?" Hiro asked in a shy manner. His heart raced as he asked, hoping not to annoy his newfound friend. He stuttered and it was clear, something Naruto easily read through. "You like her right?" Naruto said in his coolest manner. He folded his arms and looked at Hiro with a smug on his face. "What?" Hiro froze from the question. Animally, his eyes turned white and he raised his eyes with the essence to kill Naruto. I'm the one asking the question. Naruto's smirk just grew and he started to chuckle before he stopped and looked up. Well, Hiro, if you like her, you can go on and do whatever you want with her, Hiro. Hiro couldn't believe his ears. He paused and looked at Naruto as the latter was still looking up. Thanks, Naruto. A smile creeped onto the blonde's face and he walked over to his Uchiha companion. Naruto placed his hand over his shoulder and they began their walk towards Haku and Hinata. Let's do it like this, ask her out on a date, cause I'm already scheduled on a date with Haku tonight. She's a pretty cool and heavy girl. Yep, we could make it a double date, fancy restaurant stuff, money's on me. We both went to the land of waves, bro. Sure thing. Evening, over 10 hours later. Naruto sat on the roof of his house. He had been waiting for his date, Haku, who was supposed to be done by now. Kakashi had informed them earlier about the Chunin exams if they would like to participate, something the genin jumped at and were even eager to train. The twins had explained before of how he'd be put under the CRA Act, something he didn't really reject. He had also in turn explained to Haku, and she accepted it too easily. Well, I hope Haku thinks of this as okay. The Uzumaki heard the door of the house being closed and Kushina telling his date to have fun. Naruto looked down and saw the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. Haku's hair was tied in a ponytail with her bangs still there. Her makeup wasn't that much but she was still beautiful. She wore a black tube gown that reached her knees and was slim but moderate in its way. Wow, she has a really nice ass and shape. Naruto thought after he looked at her from up. Well, I think I better get to her. Naruto stood up and teleported right next to her. She wasn't shocked, as she got used to it due to his numerous teleportations around the house whenever Kushina sent him on different errands. Hey Haku-chan, you look amazing. Haku just smiled happily. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Naruto held out his hand outstretched towards the ice user. She humbly accepted it before the two disappeared. 8:30 p.m. 2 no o Risutorin, Second King's restaurant. Hiro and Hinata were seated in a well-decorated but empty restaurant. The two have been talking really well ever since the Uchiha managed to ask her out on a date. Why exactly is this place empty? It's always filled up, Hinata asked out of sheer curiosity. She had passed by the newly built restaurant most times and heard of how it was expensive and was always filled up with all those classy citizens. Well, we bought the whole place out. Hiro could see the shock in Hinata's face as she calculated the amount of money that was. The Hyuga had gained even more confidence in herself after Hiro asked her out. She was utterly shocked, but also happy about it. She realized she had little feelings for the Uchiha and warmed up to him. Hiro just smirked in reply to her show of shock. He was wearing a suit identical to Naruto's, just that the tail was a bit longer at the left end and the Uchiha crest was laying at the back. He wore slim pants. Naruto and Haku walked into the restaurant, holding hands. Wow, Haku-chan looks amazing. Hiro just nodded in reply to Hinata and looked at her. He studied her dressing. She was wearing a gown identical to Haku's, but it was more longer and looked like a ball gown, reaching her ankles. Hiro saw through her large bosoms and just blushed at the sight. You look amazing too, Hinata-chan. The Uchiha said, sounding as truthful as he could, making the Hyuga blush. Hey, Hiro, Hinata-chan. The other couple replied by waving as Naruto and Haku took their seats. Haku was another person to notice the emptiness of the restaurant. It was a well-decorated restaurant and definitely, people were meant to be there, high-class people to be exact. The kunoichi looked around before turning to Naruto. Why is this place empty? We bought out the whole place. I and Hiro thought it would be better if we just had our time together and peacefully. The blonde replied sharply. Haku was shocked and so was Hinata, but the two males just smirked as they looked at each other. Naruto noticed the continuous shocked faces and his smirk went to a worried state. What, too much? The way he said it made the other three laugh, hereby soothing the situation. Naruto and Haku walked side by side. Their hands locked together like a marrying couple. Naruto had an ice cream cone and so did his date. The two had bonded over the little dinner they had and Haku was proud of her date. The kunoichi was impressed with how Naruto managed to compose himself, speaking to the waiters diligently and intelligently. She saw through him that he was very okay financially, After he told her that he literally only spends his money on ramen and pizza. The latter obvious after he ate 2 large pepperoni pizzas. When I arrived here I saw your what do you guys call it? Hokage monument. The Uzumaki Namikaze hybrid replied as he licked his dessert. People are allowed to go up there, right? Haku asked in her usual humble tone. Naruto didn't talk further. He immediately lifted the kunoichi up from her legs, wrapping his right hand around it and his left around her back before they teleported out of sight. Naruto arrived at the top of the Hokage monument and set Haku down, the kunoichi smiling happily. "Inform me before you do that next time," she said with a bit of force before cutely punching Naruto on his shoulder. The blonde just chuckled as a result. The two proceeded to sit on the soft and comfortable grass, sitting side by side each other. "So, Naruto, tell me a bit about yourself," Haku asked, looking over the village. "Well, you know my name, I've never seen my father, and he's also dead. Just met my mother 6 years ago. I'm a devil hunter, or was a devil hunter. When I was with my uncles I learned their profession and picked it up. They taught me different things, like stretching my body to the limits and gaining a devil arm, one like heroes. I carry the yin half of the Kyuubi in body and… well, that's pretty much all about me for now." Haku's mouth was in an O shape after she took in all he just said and stared at him. "I'm really sorry about your father." "Thanks Haku," Naruto said in a cool manner, looking over his village. Haku moved closer to the shinobi and rested on his right shoulder. Naruto's body tickled and he raised his right hand up, taking her in. After some minutes Haku took her face up and looked at Naruto, before lunging him and giving him a kiss. Hiro couldn't take it anymore. He had been sitting with Hinata for over 10 minutes. The two were at a lake, the place where the Uchiha usually train for their Kaden Gokakyu no Jutsu technique, as he recovered. They had been chatting well, and he was proud about that since he never really spoke well to girls. Hiro had decided that he was gonna make his move now, although he was somewhat scared. Hinata's eyes locked with Hiro's and she looked at him. The Uchiha was about to move when Hinata kissed him. The kiss was long and went well as Hinata lifted her hands up to his shoulder and hugged his neck, he also hugging her back. The two stopped and their foreheads were locked on, both smiling. "Was that your first kiss?" Hiro asked, feeling more confident than ever. Hinata reacted shyly. The kiss was a bit sloppy but she liked it. It wasn't rushed from Hiro's side, and he freed her, she just felt like it was the most accomplished first kiss. "There's no need to be like that, it was my first kiss also," the Uchiha admitted as he pulled Hinata into a hug on his shoulder. The Hyuga chuckled as she laid on him, feeling very happy. "Full moons are beautiful," Hinata said as she looked onto the beautiful moon, Hiro smiling with her. "Not as beautiful as you." Hinata sat up straight before kissing Hiro again. Naruto and Haku were on the verge. The blonde laid on the soft grass as Haku rested on top of him, still kissing him. The kiss was smooth. Naruto had much experience thanks to his twin uncles, and he also knew Haku had experience as she handled herself well. The Uzumaki's hands were wrapped around Haku's waist side. Naruto soon started to sit up, slowly. Haku got the message and sat up, but they still continued kissing, both of their eyes closed as they enjoyed the moment. Naruto slowly moved his hand downwards towards her butt, slowly, but it happened. He waited for some while but seeing Haku did not move, he softly rubbed it, not wanting to be an ingrate, he left it and soon hugged Haku tightly to his body, feeling her chest on his. The two stopped and looked at each other with a smile. Haku released our right hand from his shoulder and laid her index finger on his nose playfully. "You should be training for your Chunin exams, you know," Haku said in a cute manner that made Naruto just want to hug her forever. "I don't need to train for a workout like that. I can easily promote myself to Jonin by slaughtering Kakashi," Naruto said in a manner. Haku chuckled before she hugged him again. Soon after, they broke up the hug. "So, I guess you're my boyfriend now." Before the blonde could reply, his lips were buried in Haku's and he kissed back, with a yes ringing in his head. Next day, Namikaze training ground, 9:30 a.m. Naruto's home, a little far from the main village since it was located at the far ends of Konoha. The house had about 10 rooms, thanks to his father's wealth as a Hokage. He was able to build the estate, as Naruto called it. It was a long house, but the family never used the other parts, just staying at the first rooms, his, Kushina's, the main living room and the kitchen. The blonde was training at the training ground at the backyard of the house. It was quite large but not as large as the Team 7's. Naruto wore a simple white vest and his usual black joggers, that was slim on his legs. The Uzumaki Namikaze clansman was breathing heavily, but was slowly regaining himself. In the bushes, a man spied on Naruto. Yeah, now's my chance to hit him. Naruto was walking around aimlessly now as he was fully okay now. He had fun the night before, definitely, and wished for more of the same. He wasn't surprised a bit when the ninja appeared some meters away from him. "What do you want?" the blonde said with little interest. The unknown ninja had a smirk on his face. "I'm in for the Chunin exams, so I thought I'd eliminate you to ease off the competition," he said in a funny manner. "So, let me guess, you've come to kill me?" The ninja had a sweat drop coming on his face. "It's fucking obvious," he thought. "Yeah," the ninja said. Soon, he brought out a kunai from his pouch and dashed towards the blonde. Naruto easily sidestepped the oncoming slash. He held the man's right hand, the one he used to hold the kunai, and hit his wrist, not breaking it but disarming him as the ninja tool dropped from his hand. Naruto then proceeded to grab the handspin the ninja with little effort before slamming him onto the grass below him. The Uzumaki then lifted the ninja up by his neck. "Did you come to kill me or were you sent?" he asked in a dead serious manner. Naruto quickly left the man for a while, seeing an oncoming kunai targeted at the right side of his face. He dodged it by dashing backwards and dashed forward in very quick steps, but noticed the ninja was gone. Must be some dumb skirmish. Looks like I'll have to take this Chunin exams. A little bit serious. Iruka breathed heavily as he laid on the ground, a place a bit far from where Naruto was. "Thanks Kakashi, you're a lifesaver. My neck was being held like a rag doll." "Yeah, I noticed that. You should have planned well, you know Naruto's elite," Kakashi said in his usual cool manner before pulling Iruka up. "I didn't know he'd be that strong. His arms felt like he could carry two of me, and still have enough to strength to destroy a wall, like some enhanced human or something." Kakashi just smirked under his mask. "Don't worry Iruka, I hope you watch the Chunin exams. Well, still, that doesn't mean you should easily go for a death match, especially if you'll actually die." Iruka just chuckled at Kakashi's words. Two white-haired men were standing at the gate of Konoha, one in blue, one in red. "We are Virgil, Naruto and Kushina will be happy to see us," the red-wearing individual said with malicious smirk on his face. "I know Dante," the blue trenchcoat-wearing man said with a gloomy smile before it quickly disappeared. "Still, don't you dare call her Kushina beside me in your life." Hiruzen's eyes kept twitching at the sight of the people in front of him. The Wo were tall, handsome, and had a special aura of chakra emitting from them. "What are you guys again?" the Sandaime said in his usual old man manner. Dante sighed. He and his Win had been there for over a half an hour. "We're demon hunters. I heard that demons had been appearing in the villages, so we came to investigate." "Oh, really? We're brothers to Kushina Uzumaki Sparta," the other one, wearing a blue trenchcoat said in a very simple and cold manner. Hiruzen looked like he was struck, but not by lightning, by shock. "Brothers?" A smirk crawled onto Dante's face, the individual having a young and handsome face. He had white hair that was brushed down and looked like a mop. He also had a large sword on his back, a skull, its hilt, the name, Rebellion. The older twin, Virgil, simply sat. His hair was the same color with Dante, only it was slicked back with a bang covering his left eye slightly. His tone was darker and he had an O-katana in its sheath on his hand called Yamato. "She never told you? Wow, I have an amazing sister?" And that's the story of Sparta. Kushina ended her words with a heavy sigh. She had explained how she was the descendant of Sparta, a great devil, and how she was half devil half human, and so was her son, Naruto. She went on to ramble about the incidents that happened when she and Naruto trained around. "Why didn't you tell me all of this before, Kushina?" "Well, I was trying to protect the identity of my family." "You should have. The woman was trying to protect her family, don't you fucking get that?" Virgil interrupted the Hokage and released his killer intent around, the Hokage feeling it well. The Sandaime just sighed before he smiled. "Well, there's no problem then." Kushina quirked an eyebrow and shot a suspicious look at the old man. "Say what? It's okay, but it'll be a S-rank secret. By the way, it would be nice to have devil hunters in this village, gives us an advantage." Suddenly, the chat was interrupted when a young blonde kid entered. Naruto was licking a coned strawberry sundae when he saw his two uncles standing in front of the Hokage. What the? Dante, Virgil? What are you guys doing here? Dante had a smirk running through his face. Is that how you greet your uncles, kid? Some days later, Naruto was walking around in Konoha. His day had been going on perfectly. Numerous makeout sessions with Haku, training with a very cold Virgil, and pizza eating with a very fun Dante. Virgil still acts like that, damn it. Running through his mind were also the new missions he was gonna be getting if he became Chunin. He learned from the Hokage that there'll be a part where it will be an individual contest starting from the preliminaries. Once he became Chunin, he was gonna start different missions, especially demon hunting ones. The blonde was happy he was gonna be performing a new job, and get more pay, since Konoha didn't have the standards for the new threat that posed upon their leaf. His thoughts were interrupted when he heard a loud voice from a child. He ran to the location and saw something that was very disturbing. He saw an unrecognized individual picking on a little kid, with the pink cat called Sakura trying to defend him. The boy wore a black cat-like suit and had something with bandages covering it on his back. There was also a girl behind the guy, but it didn't seem that she wanted to have any part in the situation. Leave him alone, he apologized already. Naruto covered his ears a bit before cleaning them when she finished talking. Damn it, as much as it is a pain in the ass, I gotta help that kid. The boy glared at the Haruno before stretching his free hand towards her. So you want me to beat you up instead? The unknown boy retreated his hand in a manner like he was about to attack, but was suddenly stopped when his arm was halted and pulled to his back, causing him to scream in agony. Sakura had a relieved look on her face. She didn't really like who was coming to save her and the kid, but she was glad it was someone strong enough. Naruto, I didn't even see this guy appear here. I better go help Kankuro out, the blonde girl at the boy's back said as she was about to move but was halted when Naruto released his killer intent, stopping her dead in her tracks. She was almost suffocated and she made her wisest decision yet, standing her ground right over there. Naruto smirked where he stood, his gaze fixed on a nearby tree. Wise decision, blonde, your friend here should have thought like that, don't you think? The boy being held by Naruto and the girl looked up to the tree also. They were both startled to see a kid around Naruto's age standing on a branch. He had red hair, a gorge on his back and a kanji for love on the left side of his head, over his left eyebrow. The guy with cat-like suit looked shocked. Gee, Gaara, he managed to stutter. The red-haired kid, now called Gaara, just looked at him with a glare that was almost equivalent to Virgil's. Kankuro, apologize. Kankuro still wanted to debate but was stopped when Gaara glared at him with released killer intent. Do it now, or else I'll kill you. Kankuro started to shake before bowing his head down in defeat. I'm sorry, he said. Naruto freed Kankuro. He noticed the fear that suddenly filled up in him when Gaara arrived. He didn't know why, yet, but he just noticed something odd about the red-haired kid. This guy, his aura seems familiar, I don't know why. This blonde kid looks dangerous. I didn't even notice him appear behind Kankuro, and there's just something about him that I can't place. I'm sorry on how my teammates treated you. Gaara started with a dark but clear voice towards Naruto. The blonde simply pocketed his left hand before raising his right in a peace sign. Gaara simply glared at him before disappearing in sand, appearing right beside his siblings. They were about to move when Naruto stopped them. You guys don't look like Konoha nin. You're here for the Chunin exams, right? The three then turned back while Gaara spoke. Yes, my name is Gaara. These two are my siblings, Tamari and Kankuro, and we're from Sanagakure no Sato, village hidden in sand, and you are. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. We might meet again in the Chunin exams. The red-haired kid snickered before he gave the blonde a nod. We'll see, he said, and they went their way. Naruto, you're a lifesaver. Sakura said out shyly. She knew it wasn't the right thing to do ever since she outrightly hated the blonde, not knowing what he was capable of. Naruto was still facing Gaara's direction when he heard Sakura's voice. He lazily turned around to face her. He had a straight look on his face as he directed his gaze to her. I saved the kid, not you, Naruto said coldly before disappearing into thin air. Day of the Chunin exams. Naruto was walking towards the place where the first part of the Chunin exams would take place. He was wearing a simple white long-sleeve inner with the Uzumaki clan symbol on it and a black jacket that was unbuttoned, slim black pants and high-standard shinobi sandals. His katana on his back. A new look to him was the bandages on his hands, his palms especially. Naruto got to the door of the building and saw his two teammates waiting for him. They were talking with each other and didn't notice him until he was very close to them. "Hiro, Hinata-san, what's up? You guys prepared?" Hinata smiled pleasantly and had her two hands together while Hiro slung his left arm over her neck and smirked. "You bet." The three chuckled and stood in front of the door, Naruto and Hiro simultaneously opening it and moving forward. Inside, there were a large group of genin in front of two older ninjas guarding the door to room 301. "That's not where we're supposed to go to, it's a genjutsu," Hiro said, his two Tomo Sharingan turned on. "This is the second floor, let's go upstairs." Naruto nodded and Team 7 proceeded through the stairs and were finally in front of room 301, seeing their sensei waiting for them. "Hello, Naruto, Hinata, Hiro, I'm glad you guys made it up to here." Naruto folded his arms after they replied their sensei. "We'll do our best, Kakashi-sensei. I believe in Team 7. "So do I," Hinata added quickly with a smirk on her face. Kakashi smiled his team. "Well, I guess there's no need for a speech then, I believe in you guys. Go there and crack their ribs. I'll see you all on the other side," he said before walking forward, the genin simultaneously walking past him and into the door. Inside was what seemed like the whole genin of Konoha. The rookies were also present in the hall. "Hey Dobi-cousin," a certain proud Uchiha said to Hiro. The other Uchiha just smiled. "I won't answer an Uchiha who hasn't awakened his Sharingan." Sasuke got a bit frustrated and his voice went up. "Look who's talking, it's not like you." Sasuke was cut short when Hiro stared at him, his eyes red and his Sharingan keen. Naruto smirked while Hinata just chuckled, which further irritated Sasuke. He went in for a punch to Hiro, only to find himself on the ground, Naruto being the one holding his neck. Everyone in the room were surprised. "What the fuck? Speed like that is impossible," Sasuke and most of the genin in the room thought. "I knew it, he's a pretty strong ninja," a certain red-haired kid thought. "Hey, Uchiha brat, how about you take a hike and go play with the Banshee in your group huh?" "You fool, you're not worthy to talk to me," Sasuke said, still held down by Naruto's hand. "What? I'm not even struggling and you can't stand up, you're not worthy to shit." Silent and deep laughs could be heard from the room and the blonde also received some glares. "Just you wait until I activate my blah, blah, if you get your Sharingan," Hiro would have probably gotten his Mangekyo. "Believe it," Naruto said in a manner, his voice getting louder while the genin laughed. The locked-down Uchiha felt great anger swelling up beneath him, but soon, he toned down and noticed he could never escape unless he calmed down. After noticing this, Naruto released Sasuke and he stood up. "Next time you enter somewhere like this, try to keep a low profile," a silver-haired lad with glasses said. "Who the fuck are you?" Naruto asked as he pocketed his two hands. "Yakushi Kabuto, information gatherer," he replied quickly. "Good for you," Naruto said in an also serious manner. "I want to offer you some advice if I can. This is my 7th time taking this exam." "7th time? Better talk to Hiruzen-sama about this guy later. He reeks of hubby, a smell I've once read of." Kabuto brought out some cards and placed them on the ground. "These are my ninja information cards, it has information on genin from all country." Sasuke was the first person to talk. "Do you have information on Naruto?" Kabuto nodded and shuffled the cards before picking a particular one. "Yep, Namikaze Naruto, genin, 13 years of age, is the last Namikaze, that's all is known. Taijutsu unknown. Ninjutsu unknown. Kenjutsu unknown. Uses a katana and has certain teleportation abilities. Teammates are Hiroki Uchiha and Hinata Hyuga." "Wow, all you said was already known, I'm pretty badass," Naruto said in a very manner, earning smirks from his teammates. The genin were interrupted when someone slammed the door shut. "Listen up worms, my name is Sparta Virgil, shut the fuck up, sit the hell down, and no one gets fucking hurt." A wide smile was on Naruto's face. "Virgil Ne-san?" Naruto was sitting, waiting for the exams to begin. The blonde found himself sitting beside the young Haruno. The exams had not yet began and the genin were listening to Virgil. Let's set down some basic rules. 1. You're to keep your fucking hole shut and it shouldn't be opened for any reason or there will be consequences. 2. If you move more than the inches you're supposed to, there will be consequences. 3. There will be no questions, but you can raise your hand. I'll get some stabbing practice. He delivered in the coldest manner possible, scaring almost all the genin while Naruto smirked. Alright, on the sides of the classroom you see a few observers. If they see you cheating, you and your team are out. This part of the exam will consist of a written test with 3 questions. I will ask the third question personally. Begin and remember the rules. I don't mind if you broke one of them though, he said with an evil smirk on his face. The papers were delivered to the genin and they began their exam. These 2 questions are like Junin's standard questions. It's like they want us to cheat. Naruto scouted the room and noticed the pink cat beside him doing the questions easily. Seems the Banshee here knows it. Naruto silently formed some hand seals. Raiden. Raitoningu Soshin. Roughly translates to lightning transmission. Naruto used his index finger to touch the table and quickly, a tiny spark of lightning went around the table and came back to him before settling on his paper. The answers from Sakura's paper, pasted right on his. Now to deliver the answer to Hinata and Hiro, Naruto looked around and noticed that Hiro was already copying down his own answers. Oh, Hiro could use his Sharingan to copy people's movements. Hinata then. He hit the ground softly with his feet and the same spark of lightning went towards Hinata. Well, now it's just to wait for the third question. 15 minutes later, Virgil ordered the writers to stop. Quite a lot of genin remained, and quite a lot also failed. Now this is the third question. Think about it well before you answer. If you get wrong you will remain a genin for the rest of your miserable life. If you decide to quit now your teammates will also fail but you'll have another chance next year. So choose now. No way, Sasuke said. Virgil glared at him and released and based his killer intent on the Uchiha and tortured him before releasing it off him. Slowly but surely, the young shinobi started to raise their hands and leave. I'm not fit for this. I'll just slow Hiro and Naruto-kun down, Hinata thought and started to raise her hand slowly. No Hinata-chan. I can't afford to wait another year. We're a team. We'll stick in this till the death. Virgil glared at Hiro after he quickly delivered his speech. You talked when I didn't give you permission. Luckily for you, you all passed the third question. The genin looked surprised and had confused faces on. He asked if we were going to quit or continue. If you haven't figured, Naruto said coolly, earning a smirk from Virgil. Naruto, I've already heard about what you've done in the village. Can't wait for you to become Chunin and become one of Konoha's official devil hunters. Before Virgil could speak again, a female jumped in through the window. She was wearing a tan overcoat with a purple inseam, which had a pocket on both sides, and complete with a fitted mesh bodysuit that stretched from her neck down to her thighs. She was holding a flag that read, Proctor 2, Anko Mitarashi. Virgil eyed the new proctor. She had a nice shape, with violet hair and large, beautiful boobs, something he admired about her. Where's Ibiki? The Hokage put me in charge of the first exam. Anko looked at Virgil. He was a bit taller than her. Wow, tall and handsome. I might have a play with him later. Okay then, she turned her attention to the class. Alright you maggots. Follow me for the second part of the exam. She stared to walk and the genin followed. She turned back and gazed at Virgil. You wanna tag along? Sure then. The group were walking. During the walk, Anko decided to break the silence between her and the hot Proctor 1. You don't look like a ninja of Konoha. Who are you? I'm a demon hunter, he replied bluntly. Oh, I heard about demons appearing in the elemental countries, and Konoha has prepared by hiring some demon hunters. Yeah, Virgil said with a straight face. Anko noticed his look and his behavior and even felt more aroused with him. I could definitely play with him later. Virgil noticed her smirking towards him. He composed himself and didn't look at her. She's cute, has a nice ass and body shape, with large ass. Yeah, Konoha's gonna be fun. The group finally got to the next arena of the Chunin exam. It was a large forest area with different gates. Welcome maggots, Anko began, raising her voice as she spoke. To the forest of death. Oh, I like this woman. This is where the second part of the exam will take place. The next couple of days this will be your home sweet home. Danger is lurking in every corner, from either the competition or the creatures that lurk in the forest. If you don't pay attention or are injured, your chances of survival are minimal. The students gulped while a certain blonde kid smirked. What's so funny, blonde? Naruto just chuckled and closed his eyes. Nothing really, just that this sounds like competition for some people, Naruto said in a manner before pocketing his hands and looking away. Oh, tough guy huh? Anko muttered beneath her breath. I'd advise you not to do that, Virgil noted. He noticed Anko holding out a kunai from her pouch. Why? I heard that he's a promising genin, but it doesn't mean I can't have a brush with him. He's my nephew, and he's kinda too much for this exam. I'm sure you'll ace it. Ace it? Dude's got belief in this kid. Better watch him, she thought with a smirk. Alright, before we begin, you must sign these papers. There were murmurs around the genin. Just that the village of Konoha isn't responsible for injury or demise that may or will occur during the Chunin exam. After everyone signed on their papers, Anko collected them and announced once again. There will be a 10-minute break. After that, everyone line up in front of the gates. She then smirked evilly. And we shall begin. Naruto called his team together. He was smiling and had his hand pocketed in. Hiro, Hinata, we'll survive this. The two nodded positively in reply. We're gonna have to enter this forest with the intent to kill. I and you, Hiro. Hinata, you'll have to also, and you're the only one we can rely on for medical support. So I and Hiro fight. You support with Byakugan and medical jutsu, alright? The two nodded again. Naruto, what do you mean by intent to kill? Hinata asked innocently. It means, Naruto sighed. Anyone who gets in our ways and acts stubbornly or shows brutality, we give it to them, in 100%, and kill them. Hinata was scared at Naruto's tone. She noticed how damn serious her teammate was, and also how true he spoke. If she kept her innocent behavior, she'd never survive in the forest. So she packed up courage and had belief in herself. Alright maggots, break's over. Gather in front of me, the second proctor said. Right. One person of a group goes into this tent and receives a scroll. There are two kinds of scrolls, a heaven scroll and an earth scroll. The person will receive one of these scrolls. Your objective is to gather a heaven and an earth scroll, and when you have it you must go to the tower in the middle. If you succeed you pass the second part of the test. If you don't make it within the time limit you fail. If your team isn't complete you fail. If you open the scroll before you are in the tower you will, well, fail in a painful way. Am I clear? The genin nodded and each person per team went into the tents to receive their scrolls and soon enough, each team had a scroll. Alright, all of you got a gate and wait for my signal. Finally, Naruto muttered as he moved with Team 7 to a gate and they waited for their proctor's signal. Most of the inexperienced genin were nervous. They were getting through their skulls that they would have to fight at one point or the other. Some of them were flat out happy about the idea of showcasing their talents, and some were dead serious, but also dead excited about the fact of killing creatures or fellow genin. Alright maggots, go. Anko's voice finally ringed into their ears as the gates opened. _play _diary _of _Jane intro riff only. Naruto smirked and the three genin rushed into the forest. They jumped and started flying around branches. Okay, this is the plan. We have an earth scroll, so we need a heaven scroll. Once we get that, we'll rest and find shelter, then we'll immediately head to the tower at the middle. Oi, Naruto. Hi. Soon the group reached a small plain field between the forest and they lay down, planning on resting. Hinata, scout the area with your Byakugan if you can see any groups nearby. Hi, she replied and closed her eyes. Byakugan. The Hyuga said and released her Kekkei Genkei. I see about 2 groups passing by, and a group coming towards here, but it doesn't look like they know we're here. Hiro looked at his blonde teammate. Should we set traps for them or take them head on? Naruto smirked. We'll hide. When we do, Hinata checks if they have a earth or heaven scroll. If it's the former, we chase the other 2 groups. The latter, we attack while Hinata looks for any other enemy that might appear. The two nodded and dashed to hide in the nearby trees while Naruto teleported to a nearby tree. Soon, the oncoming genin appeared. They were hidden rain ninja. I could swear I sensed some people here, one of them said. They're still here, the other one replied silently. We'll kill them, and take their scrolls. Naruto and Hiro appeared on the battlefield, both with killer intent around them. The rain ninja got into their stances and were prepared for battle. An earth scroll, perfect. After hearing that, Naruto looked up with a dangerous glare. Then I'm guessing you have an heaven scroll, perfect for us also. Hiro made hand signs and put the Tora sign up to his mouth. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu. A large fireball ravaged through the atmosphere towards the rain ninja. Sweden. Suiryuden no Jutsu. One of the ninja also performed hand seals and released a large water dragon to quench the fire and brought out their kunai, ready for battle. Let's go. Hiro, let's go. The two genin jumped towards each other as the smoke from the two previous attack cleared. 3 against 2, I'll take one out, and leave the other to Hiro. Naruto clashed his kunai with that of the other rain shinobi while Hiro did the same thing with the other one. The third one saw Hiro being carried away and tried to attack him. Raiden. Raitoningu Tenso, Naruto said in his mind. He slightly pushed his opponent and pointed his hand towards the ninja that was about to attack his teammate. He made the hand in shape of a gun and shot a spark of lightning towards the ninja, immediately shutting him down. Hinata somewhat gasped after seeing what Naruto did. Wow, he just killed him? Naruto then dodged an oncoming horizontal slash by ducking his upper body. He proceeded to perform a back flip and kicked the kunai from the ninja's hand. Naruto skidded as he landed. You really can't defeat me. Think again. Sweden. Mizu no Aki. Roughly translates to water style, waterfall jutsu. The genin released a large wave of water towards Naruto, causing the blonde to retreat deeper into the woods. The aim nin hot on him. He's trying to separate me from Hiro, the fool. Naruto skidded as he landed. He noticed the aim nin on a branch above him and he quickly threw his kunai towards the blonde. You've showed the intent to kill. Time I did mine. Naruto evidently disappeared as the kunai just stabbed the ground. The rain ninja surprised at his speed. Naruto appeared in midair, right in front of the aim nin with his right arm cocked backwards. He pushed it forward and punched the ninja straight in the face, sending him flying all the way back to the original battlefield. Hiro blocked another of his opposition's slash and ducked again. He hadn't activated his Sharingan, feeling he didn't have to use it against such low ninjas. Hiro made a backflip and then charged at the genin. He tried a right hook, but the ninja blocked it and tried his right hook, which Hiro dodged by ducking and then trying to kick him off his feet. The aim nin didn't expect it and he was swept up and falling. Hiro acted fast and performed a front flip, his leg landing on the tummy of the ninja, smashing him onto the ground and knocking him out. Hiro smirked, then noticed a once on the ground aim ninja running towards Naruto, who was unaware of that. Hiro reached for his pouch but was surprised when Naruto performed a front flip, kicking and knocking out the oncoming ninja in the process. Now that's a jutsu that needs naming. Hinata joined the group and they inspected the 3 ninjas for their scroll. I found it, it's an heaven scroll, Hinata said and revealed the scroll to her teammates. All said and done then, let's start moving, we'll rest after we've covered some ground, Naruto said, and they all dashed forward once more. Team 7 were dashing forward when they heard a familiar scream. They halted on different branches and watched the incident going on below. They were looking at a team of Konoha ninja battling against Sasuke, Kiba and Sakura. The latter not looking very balanced in the match. Naruto recognized 2 guys from the team. An Hyuga cousin to his teammate called Neji and another guy called Rock Lee, who he knew to be very crazy with taijutsu. Naruto, should we attack or move on? Naruto listened to Hinata's usual tiny voice. He had a good think at it. It was either to save Sasuke's sorry ass as he got a roundhouse kick from Rock Lee and was sent crashing into a tree, or be a nice guy and enter the battle. No, let's move on. Wah? Naruto said and looked at Hiro with a very confused face. Sure, everyone knew Sasuke was a jerk, but he didn't expect his cousin to be so straightforward about it. Yeah, let's move on. Sasuke is a wild dog that refuses to heed to others. With that said, Hiro flew off through the trees. Naruto just sighed at his decision as now Hinata just stared at him. Go Hinata, I have some new business to start off. Naruto said and disappeared. Hinata sensing the deep sense of coldness in his speech before she sighed and started to jump in pursuit of her lover. 8 trigams, 64 palms. Neji shouted out as he gave Kiba the final strike, clearly knocking the dog-like kid out. Sasuke grunted and charged at the Hyuga. Neji had a smirk on his face as a hidden kunai showed a little from beneath the bandages on his wrist. Sasuke went in for right hook only for his hand to be hit back by Neji's palm. He then revealed the kunai and was about to stab Sasuke by his free waist when something suddenly pushed both of them from each other. "Hey, I think that's enough." Sasuke looked enraged and shouted at his cousin's teammate. "Hey you bitch, get the fuck out of my battle. Shut up Uchiha brat. I don't care how many relatives you lost, but Hiro didn't bitch down that low to believe he would have revenge in a very foolish manner. And what do you know about my clan?" Sasuke said, clenching his fists as his anger continued to rise. "Because I read about it, and I met the two people that massacred your clan, only if you knew what they themselves went through." "Shut up," Sasuke screamed out as his Sharingan awoke. He felt enhanced over his whole body and began to run at Sasuke with new and fast steps. "Sasuke, calm down," Naruto said calmly as he blocked Sasuke's right hook. He went on to block or perfectly parry all of Sasuke's attack. "Sasuke!" Naruto shouted and grabbed the Uchiha by the neck and choke slammed him onto the ground, not using his full strength to do so. "Sasuke, stop this mad rage of yours. If it's you want, sure, but at least do it with the help of your friends, do it with Hiro. You think you can match up with Itachi in this state? No, he'll leave you for dead once more, except your friend Sasuke, and for fuck's sake stop being such a shitty avenger." I am an avenger." Sasuke felt Naruto's rage rising, the blonde's hand still pinning his neck down. At this moment he began to reason as Naruto left him and ran to fight an oncoming Neji. He felt like a fool, he really didn't think of it. Hiro was progressing vividly and he was still bitching around acting like a foolish kid with the excuse that he was gonna avenge his clan. No more, thank you Naruto." Sasuke opened his eyes and his Sharingan showed. He stood up and clenched his fists as he saw Naruto punch Neji so hard that he slammed onto a tree and was knocked out. Naruto looked at Sasuke and was surprised when he saw a new, smiling Uchiha. "So, what's your decision? Stay alone and avenge your clan yourself? Or stick to your brothers and do it together?" Naruto held out his hand in a handshake towards Sasuke, who started to slowly walk to Naruto. "Naruto, you defeated an Hyuga genius within seconds with only taijutsu. I wonder what Hiro can do. Yes, I have made my decision." Sasuke took the handshake and the two smiled. "Well, I have to catch up with my teammates, we'll see later." Take their heaven scroll and head to the tower," Naruto said and immediately disappeared out of sight.
That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share and do comments.